We have been discussing electron spin polarization in photochemical systems. We have learned how this single phase hyperfine independent polarization appears, and the spectra appear in this fashion, either is totally down or totally up. Nevertheless, both of them are very much away from the thermal distribution. Now, we are going to discuss and learn the mixed phase hyperfine dependent polarization. The example of that is shown here in the slide. This is the familiar acetone isopropanol experiment. In the presence of UV light, it produces the identical pair of radicals, and if the experiment is done in the direct detection mode, the time resolved PR spectrum after 0.5 microsecond shows this pattern. The low field lines are emissive, high field lines are absorptive, and there is no relation whatsoever with respect to the thermal EPR signal, where the middle line is expected to be most intense and other lines will be smaller and smaller intensity. Here this sort of signal comes when these conditions are satisfied. One is that reaction can take place either singlet or triplet state. You see the triplet mechanism that we discussed earlier. The triplet mechanism necessarily requires a triplet state. So, if the reaction takes place in the triplet state or singlet state, this polarization mechanism that we are going to discuss can work, and the reaction need not be very fast compared to the Spinler's reduction of the triplet state. But here that condition was necessary, that reaction has to be very fast and be comparable to the triplet Spinler's relaxation state. In TM, the polarization was created when the radical was created at the same time. When we get this sort of signal, these conditions are not satisfied. So, we examine if the electron spin polarization can be generated during the evolution of the radical pair. That is, that after radicals A and B reacts, something like this happens. So, during the generation process I get triplet mechanism. So, if these conditions for TM is not satisfied, then can the polarization develop as the radicals are evolving? Maybe that is the way the other mechanism works. So, we will have to understand how the radicals evolve after they are produced. So, this mechanism is called radical pair mechanism, and we will see that the formation of the radical pair is the key to this mechanism, that radicals are created in pair and they are evolving in each other's presence. So, when they are created, they evolve in each other's presence, they ultimately becoming free. What do I mean by that? The moment they are created, let us say in a solution, these two radicals are surrounded by the solvent molecules, and they are influencing each other when they are very close to each other. But after some time, once they go away from each other and each of them gets solvated, I call them this sort of free radical, that is free from each other's presence, and EPR spectrometer actually sees these radicals. So, going from here to there, what sort of interactions can produce spin polarization? So, we now make some basic statements which are so obvious that we will accept them to be true. For example, radicals are created in pairs and in the vicinity of each other, surrounded by the solvent molecules. they must separate before they are detected in the EPR spectrometer. And number 3 is very important, they have an overall spin state of 0 or 1, that is they could be either singlet radical pair or triplet radical pair. What do we mean by that? This A and B, when they are together surrounded by solvent, it has got a spin of let us say some unpaired electron, this some unpaired electron. So, overall spin state can be constituted which will be some combination of this and this. So, alpha and beta. So, alpha and beta can be either here alpha or beta, this can be here alpha or beta. So, overall spin state will depend on the relative orientation of this spin over this spin. So, this could be a singlet radical pair or triplet radical pair depending upon the relative orientation of these two spins. So, that is number 3. And number 4 is that if they are in the vicinity of each other, these two radicals can as well react. These two radicals have this sort of spin that they come together, and then if they are opposite, then they can form bond. That is the basic requirement for forming a covalent bond, the two spins must be opposite. So, here the same simple principle is applied here, that if A and B have opposite spin, that is if they are singlet radical pair, then they can react and disappear as a diamagnetic product. On the other hand, if they have parallel spin like this, then even they come closer, they may not react and go away from each other and go back to the bulk of the solution. So, that is a very important physical expectation that we have about the evolution of the system, that radical pair will undergo this evolution such that the triplet radical pair does not react, but a singlet radical pair does. See, each of these conditions are very simple and understandable, but nevertheless they will have a profound effect on the ultimate outcome of the spin distribution in the radicals. And last point is that there are some interactions that can change a singlet radical pair to a triplet radical pair and vice versa. This is not very obvious, but we will therefore investigate this in detail a little later. The point I am trying to make here is that this radical pair, no matter what their spin state is, the number 5 says that a triplet radical pair that starts with this one, they can change over to this to become a singlet radical pair, or if a singlet radical pair comes in this fashion, some interaction can flip the spin to produce a triplet radical pair. Why it is happening or why it can happen is something we will see very soon. How do you visualize the singlet radical pair and the triplet radical pair? This is the spin multiplicity of the overall pair of radicals. So, I must visualize them as a combination of two spins of the two radical. So, here in the magnetic field of the EPR spectrometer, the spins are precessing in this fashion, radical 1, radical 2, they are color coded. So, when I say the radical pair has a singlet spin state, then they have this sort of wave function, alpha 1 beta 2 beta 1 alpha 2, net m s 0 and net s square is also 0. If you see here the way these are exactly pointing in the opposite direction. So, there is no net z component here in the direction of the magnetic field. This is therefore singlet radical pair. In contrast to that, let us say look at this one here. Here R1 and R2 both point in the same direction along the magnetic field. So, here if you say the total component of the electron spin along this direction, I get 1 unit of angular momentum. So, this is a triplet radical pair with mz equal to plus 1 and m square will be 2. So, wave function for this is alpha 1 alpha 1. Similarly, the triplet radical pair with a mz minus 1 will have this sort of spin orientation, but the triplet state with a 0 component of magnetization along this direction has this sort of spin orientation, because net is given by this green arrow. This is a m square which is 2, the green is present here, green is there. Here there is no green because m square is 0. So, the way these are oriented R1 and R2, net component along this direction is 0, but it has still a net component in this direction. So, this is the triplet radical pair. In fact, this is the main difference between singlet radical pair and triplet radical pair. Both of them have got mz equal to 0, but this has no M at all, no magnetic moment. Here there is one this unit of this magnetic moment is present here. So, how can the interconversion of the singlet RP and the triplet RP take place? So, the way these relative orientations are, it is not easy to visualize that this can flip over to this or this. On the other hand, these two seem reasonably similar. What do you mean reasonably similar is, of course, that one spin is in this fashion, other is this way. So, this is singlet RP and second one is just this and this. Triplet RP. Only difference is the relative phase of these two. So, presumably interconversion between these two and these two does not look very unlikely, and in fact, we will see that is what is happening here. On the other hand, between singlet to these triplets are very unlikely, because spin has to really flip from this direction to that direction. That is not so likely. Compared to that, here the phase has to change from this to this. The difference in the S and T0 states is in the relative phases of the spin vector. So, we see if such a interconversion between S and T0 is possible or not. What is necessary for that conversion to take place? All that is necessary is that this phase should change to this. Now, magnetic field is in this direction and they are precessing in this way. So, how can the relative phase change from this to this? Very simple, if they precess at a just a little bit different frequency. So, if the precessional frequency is different for these two radical, then this relative phase can change to this, or this phase can change to this. So, that is what is claimed here now. If the precessional frequencies of the two spin vectors of the radicals are slightly different, just slightly different, their relative phases will change with time. Then a singlet can change to a triplet and vice versa. So, now more pictorially one can understand this S T0 mixing process. This is singlet and triplet 0 state mixing process. Once more, when the relative orientation of this two radicals is exactly opposite, I get singlet radical pair with a singlet wave function alpha 1 beta 2 minus beta 1 alpha 2, and when these two are in the same direction, I get triplet radical pair with the wave function of the triplet state is alpha 1 beta 2 plus beta 1 alpha 2. So, here you see the difference in sign is nothing but depicting the difference in their relative phases of these two. But when the phases are somewhat in between, then one can call it a mixed state. So, this is a wave function with a mixture of singlet radical pair state and triplet radical pair state, and this is a coefficient. And since this is not a static situation, because they keep on precessing in this fashion, and if the frequencies are different, they can keep on changing the relative phases. So, intermediate phase will be a mixture of singlet and triplet radical pair, and the coefficients are going to be dependent on time. That is very important. Now comes the way the radicals are generated. Right at the time, let us say pulse of laser comes and the radicals are created, that at that instant the spin state of this will be decided by what the precursor states were there. So, if the precursor state was singlet state reacting, then the nascent radical will also have all the electrons paired, in a sense that this is alpha, there will be beta, this is alpha, this is beta, that is overall spin state of the radical pair will be also singlet state. On the other hand, if the reaction was in the triplet state, suppose A was a triplet state, then overall spin state of this radical pair will also be triplet. So, mathematically that could be set as the initial condition. For reactions from a singlet precursor, C s at time t equal to 0 is 1, that is, and the triplet component here is 0. Similarly, if the reaction from a triplet precursor, this C s component is 0 and Ct component is 1, but these coefficients are the initial condition, and in course of time of course these values are going to change. So, all that is necessary is the difference in the precessional frequency. So, which one decides the precessional frequency difference? Individual precessional frequency is given by the Larmor frequency type of thing. This is the resonance conditions for EPR transition, or in terms of precessional frequency it is gamma B, and these are related. So, if the G factors are different for the two radicals, then the precessional frequency will also be different. So, all that is required here is that the two radicals that I have here has slightly different in the G values. So, in other words, the spectrum may look like appearing at two different places in the magnetic field. This is B, this is radical number 1, this is radical number 2, because this is decided by the G value. So, they should not appear exactly the same place, just a little bit away from each other. So, that is pictorially shown here. So, radical 1 appears here, let us say its value G value is G1, radical 2 has G value of G2, then they are appearing at different place. So, delta G is not equal to 0. So, this is enough for these two radicals to have different precessional frequency. But in practice, most of the organic free radicals which you have seen, their G values are very nearly equal to free electron G value 2.00 something. So, this effect is not very large, in fact the effect is very small, it is not a very significant factor to produce the type of signal that we see here. So, what other way the precessional frequency can be different? We bring in now the role of hyperfine interaction. Let us say radical 1 has no hyperfine line, so it appears at G equal to this G1. Radical 2 also appears at the same place, that is delta G is 0 for both of them, but it has a one spin half nucleus. So, they give doublet line, one line here, other line there. So, this axis is the magnetic field axis, but one can think of this as also as a frequency axis. So, if this line is appearing in this place, then between this and this is the difference in their precessional frequency. Similarly, between this and this is the difference in their precessional frequency. Therefore, the difference of the precessional frequency of radical 1 and 2 will depend on what the nuclear spin state of this radical is. If it is plus half, it will have one type of difference. If it is a minus half, it is other type of difference. It so happens that the magnitude is same, but nevertheless the sign is different. So, different combination of nuclear spin states give different precessional frequency difference. We can extend the argument further and say that let us say R1 and R2 both have hyperfine line, this is also doublet and R1 also is doublet of the different value. So, this is smaller coupling constant, this is bigger coupling constant. Now, there are 4 possible arrangements for the radical when they encounter each other. So, radical 1 can have alpha or plus half nuclear spin, radical 2 can have plus half spin state, that means this transition is here, for R2 this here. So, difference in precessional frequency is this much between this and that. Similarly, here both could be minus, then the difference in precessional frequencies between this and this. Let me do it here. So, this is the same place, delta G is equal to 0. So, one possibility between this and that. This is the one difference in precessional frequency when this has got alpha spin for the nucleus, this also got alpha spin for the nucleus. This much is the difference in precessional frequency. But then the radicals can have all possible nuclear spin state plus half and minus half, both of them. So, another combination could be that between this and this, that this radical comes with the alpha spin and this radical comes with the beta spin. Then this much is the difference in precessional frequency. Same is true for the other one from between this and that. So, you see that it depends on what sort of nuclear spin states are involved in this radical pair here or there, the precessional frequency is going to depend on that. So, higher the difference in precessional frequency, more effective will be this sort of singlet to triplet radical pair mixing, more quickly it will go from this to this. So, more efficient mixing will take place for those pair where the difference in precessional frequency is larger. So, outside line pair of line will experience more such mixing, more efficient mixing of this kind. So, further there more is the difference and more effective will be the singlet triplet interconversion. One of the conditions was that when the radical pair has singlet nature, there is finite probability that they can react and disappear as a diamagnetic product, but when they have got parallel spin, then they will survive. Second, here the difference in their survival. Now, if the radical pair started with a, let us say, singlet radical pair, that reaction took place in the singlet state, initially they were in the opposite phase. So, those radicals which get converted to the triplet nature, they will survive, and those which are not, they will die away. So, survival probability for a singlet radical pair depends on how quickly they evolved to a triplet radical pair, and they will be seen as the free radical, free from each other and detected in the spectrometer. On the other hand, if the reaction took place in the triplet state, then at the time of the creation both the radicals have got parallel spin. So, radical pair is a triplet nature, then this sort of interconversion will convert them to a singlet state and they will disappear. So, whatever surviving probability that these two radicals have, they will be seen in the EPR spectrometer and I can get a spectrum. So, the difference is again the way the precursor decides how the final fate is going to be. In one case, the one which is evolving to the singlet state will die if the reaction started from the triplet state. In other case, those who are starting from the singlet radical pair, whatever is evolving in the triplet state will survive, but in the case of other way around is that whatever is not evolving, they will survive. Again, summarize the dynamics of this one. So, the precursor decides the evolution in this fashion, that for singlet precursor at the time of creation these two radicals have opposite spin, we call singlet RP. For triplet precursor, the initial radical, the spins of the two radicals are parallel, so we call them triplet radical pair, and then this ST0 mixing takes place by this sort of difference in the precessional frequency. So, the wave function here has this mixture of singlet radical pair and triplet radical pair, and these coefficients depend on time. The survival probability depends on to the extent that the triplets have been produced, that is square of this one, and initial conditions is that CS0 is 1, CT0 is 0 for this singlet precursor, and for triplet precursor exactly the opposite, CT0 is 1, CS0 is 0. So, here radicals that evolve to triplet give EPR signal, here radicals that do not evolve to singlet give EPR signal, and you see that exactly opposite effect is everywhere, and that is what we see in the experiment also, that when the singlet state react we get one type of this sort of behavior, and the triplet reacts we get other type of behavior. And from this radical pair, when they separate away from each other, these radicals are with a starred sign. So, the polarized radical, those are seen in the experiment. Now, more mathematically, this qualitatively we understand why it is undergoing this singlet to triplet interconversion. Now, we can quantitatively calculate that by knowing their precessional frequency. So, Hamiltonian of the radical pair will be Hamiltonian of the radical individually plus this exchange interaction when they are nearby. Where is that? When they are formed in the vicinity of each other, they can influence each other and form a triplet pair or singlet pair depending upon the exchange interaction between them. So, that is given here. Okay, here you see the other magnetic interaction here is that this is the Zeeman interaction of the first radical and its own hyperfine interaction, electron nuclear hyperfine interaction. This is for the second radical, its Zeeman interaction and electron nuclear hyperfine interaction. This is the exchange interaction. So, total wave function is a combination of the single state radical pair and its own nuclear spin function, which could be dependent on the nuclear spin state. Similarly, for triplet radical pair function and the nuclear coordinates of the corresponding radical pair. Remember that we define the polarization to be n beta minus n alpha by total number of spin. So, we can this can be easily calculated from this sort of average value of the Sz angular momentum, that gives the alpha spin and minus Sz gives the beta spin. So, that is P will be equal to 2 times the average Sz. Now, the way now these equations are written, that polarization of radical 1 at time t is 2 times S1 z, that is average value of the z component of the spin angular momentum of radical 1, and this is given by this one wave function and this is the Sz operator. Similarly, for the radical 2 again this is the similar expression. Now, the way these are, you see they are exactly opposite, P1 t is equal to minus P2 t and no net electron spin polarization takes place there. It only shows that the spins simply get distributed such a way that one becomes this way, other becomes that way. There is no net polarization. Now, we can use the time dependent Schrodinger equation to see how the wave function is going to evolve and in how the coefficients are going to evolve. That is the way the equation is. So, here the term which are looking very unfamiliar is actually this one, but if you see carefully this is quite meaningful, because this is the precessional frequency difference, that is omega of first radical, omega second radical, this one difference in precessional frequency. So, that is decided by the delta G value. We have already encountered that delta G decides the precessional frequency difference, and also it is decided by the hyperfine coupling constant of various nuclei and the corresponding MI value. Here these are the different MI values. Which pair is present in a particular radical pair? So, that is for first radical and second radical. So, this is perfectly understandable now. Now, mixing is possible only when this singlet triplet energies are almost degenerate, that is J is very nearly going to 0, otherwise this mixing will not take place, because singlet energy level is here, triplet is there, unless they come closer they will not be able to mix. Okay. So, the way the radicals are evolving, that aim is that when they are in the vicinity of each other they have to go away from each other, being a radical separated from the other one, radical B again separated from each other. So, this they have to physically go away from each other. Now, for that to happen, lot of solvents must collide with each other, this random Brownian motion will try to push them away from each other. So, there will be lot of interactions, that diffusive motion, that A and B will little bit go away and then again come back, this sort of multiple re-encounter will take place, and every time they are nearby and too close, then the splitting increases, they do not mix. When they become comparable they again mix. So, this mixing takes place continuously for quite some time before they go away from each other. So, during that process, then whatever survival probability that is there for the triplet radical pair, they will be seen to produce the EPR signal. And you see that interaction is very much dependent on predominantly by the nuclear hyperfine coupling constant and the which pair of lines are involved there. So, outer lines will have maximum difference in precessional frequency, they will show maximum effect in the polarization. So, these are further mathematics, which I have only written the final result. Random diffusive motion and multiple re-encounter is involved there before the radicals separate away from each other. So, the polarization of radical 1 for this A and B, AB is that what sort of pair you have in mind. Say this is nuclear spin A and nuclear spin B, whatever that is. This type of pair A and B, that depends on the magnitude of this and also sign of this one, plus it depends on the initial condition. Sign is understandable because one pair, if it is looking at the polarization of this one, for this to this is positive, for other one here for this to this is negative. So, polarization is going to be opposite. Also depends on the magnitude of that in a square root of fashion. And the initial condition, the single state is the reacting state or the triplet state is the initially reacting state. That we have already understood earlier, that how it is going to be different for the initial state here. Initial state decides the overall outcome. Okay, SGN means the sign of this one, whether this is positive, we have one type of polarization, if negative is other type of polarization, and this is already true that polarization of one radical is exactly opposite of the other one. So, this is the final expression of the polarization of radical 1 for a given pair of spin state, sign of this and the J value, the sign of this and this together. J decides whether the triplet is higher or the singlet is higher for the radical pair, and initial condition and square root of this, the magnitude of that one. So, summary is that polarization depends on the square root of the precessional frequency difference. It all depends on the sign of the product of this and this. This depends on the precursor, it is single state or triplet state. Usually triplet state is higher than the single state, because this is a usual bond formation. The two radical A and B are coming together, then when they have got this singlet nature, that is the opposite spin, they form a bond of this kind here. Another, if they are triplet, that is spin parallel A and B, then they will not form a bond because energetically not possible. And in all this, ultimately the net result is that you see the how the precursor state decides the sign of this exactly opposite fashion, that if the triplet is reacting, the spectrum will look like EA type, that is this type of thing. The low field lines are emissive and high field lines are absorptive. This is for triplet precursor. Similarly, if it is AE, which will look like this type of, and presumably this low field lines are absorptive and high field lines are emissive. This is for singlet precursor. That is the summary of this radical pair mechanism. Now, a little more quantitative discussion, that as this polarization depends on the square root of this difference in precessional frequency, the outer lines will be more polarized than the inner lines, but the degeneracy is such that the outer lines have a lower intensity than the inner lines. So, they go in the opposite fashion. So, net result will be the observed intensity will be a product of the degeneracy factor and the square root of the precessional frequency difference and the sign. So, this complex way ultimately the spectrum will look like what we see here. The outer lines are more polarized than the inner lines, but the inner lines have more contribution from degeneracy. So, together this will be the overall appearance of that. But then we have considered two mechanisms. The radical pair mechanism is we have just discussed, and earlier we have discussed triplet mechanism. So, in reality it is not exclusively this or that, it is a combination of both the mechanisms that usually will always operate. But then TM may or may not take place, reason being that the reaction has to complete with the spin Lattice relaxation of the triplet, and which is very fast. But RPM will always take place, as the individual radicals have to diffuse away from their partners. That is, this is the sort of geminate radical pairs are created and they have to diffuse away from each other. That will always be the case whether the triplet reacts or the singlet state react. So, this RPM will always take place, TM may or may not take place. Only thing is that for TM to take place, triplet state must react, and also the rate of reaction has to be very fast and be comparable to the spin Lattice relaxation rate of the triplet state, then only TM will dominate. So, here is the example where the TM dominates now, but then RPM is also there. If you see very carefully that this height of this line is more than the height here, this is corresponding line, but for a true TM this will be same as this, the way the absorptive spectrum is. This line should have same intensity as this one, this intensity should be same intensity of this one, but this is not true. So, there is a little bit of net absorptive singularity present here. It is dominantly TM and little RPM. That is why these lines are somewhat smaller. And so, this is also consistent with this prediction that for EA it will be having this sort of polarization. These lines will be emissive, this line will be absorptive. So, that little absorptive component is causing these to become smaller. Even the quinone radical here, these lines have slightly bigger intensity than these lines here. I mean, this is also slightly bigger than that one. So, there is a residual amount of net absorptive singularity is present here. So, it is also so dominantly TM and little RPM. Other than here, if it is pure RPM, then the two radicals are identical. So, delta G is 0 precisely for both of them. So, intensity for this, if we calculate now, so radical 1 if I calculate in this fashion, something like this, radical 2 is exactly same. So, for this middle Harpern line, precessional frequency is precisely 0. So, here it is if the values are delta omega, this side will be minus delta omega, but here it is actually delta omega is equal to 0. So, intensity should be precisely 0 here, but that is not true. Again for RPM this will be exactly antisymmetric in this type of thing, that whatever intensity I see here I should get exactly opposite value on the other side. So, the signal will be exactly antisymmetric because the values are in this fashion, but that is not happening here. So, these lines are somewhat more absorptive than these lines. That means, it also has a residual absorptive signal present here, which might be due to a little bit of triplet present here, though there are controversies whether this indeed triplet or not, but we will not get into that debate right now. At least it shows that it is not a pure RPM which is operating here. So, now we have really come to an end of this discussion on electron spin polarization in photochemical system, and we have seen that many interesting things can happen, and just a pure observation of such polarized DPR spectrum gives us a wealth of information about the detailed reaction dynamics of the system, not just the chemical reaction. Chemical reaction often very simple, one does not need this sort of technique to establish that, but the power of this is that it gives insight into the detailed evolution of the spin system and the chemical dynamics, if you want to call it, that is starting from here how it goes to the single state or a triplet state, and then whether the intersystem crossing is fast enough or not, reaction is taking place at the comparable rate or not. I may not be able to measure most of these properties, but I can make a firm conclusion by looking at the spectrum which looks like this or which looks like this. So, all these are the power of this experimental observation and the mechanism which most definitely say something about the photophysical processes and photochemical processes and their relative rates of evolution that are all built into this appearance of the spectrum. And that is not a very trivial conclusion. Most of the time intersystem crossing rates are so fast that it is very difficult to measure them, and EPR spectroscopy here is very slow in that sense. It looks at a signal in the time scale of hundreds of nanosecond. By then everything is over. It just so happens the relaxation time of the radicals, which are let us say a few microsecond, maintains the history of the evolution of the spin system. So, all these detailed interactions which eventually produce the radicals which are free from each other, they have been sort of maintained as a memory, and the EPR spectrum reveal this history of the evolution of the photophysical and photochemical nature of this particular chemical reaction. So, that is where the power and beauty of this technique is. That is all.